Hello everyone. So before we move ahead with the middleware, let's discuss some additional important points of Redux, right? So one more function in the Redux is subscribe function, which is inside the store, right? So what is happening here at the line number 17, you're calling get state method to see what is happening at the state, and line number 20 you are seeing what is happening and you're printing it. So what we want to put some event listener so that whenever something is going to happen in the store, it's going to print for us. So that is what the subscribe method is able to do of the store. So if you'll set store, in the store there is a subscribe method, right? And inside the subscribe method required a callback function, and when you write console.log, anything you can do inside it, but I'm just printing the message that what is happening. So update. So if we are going to update anything, it's going to do it, right? So update, and then I'm going to call the function store dot get state here inside the subscribe method. Right? It's going to return us the function. So what I'll write const, and I'll write unsubscribe, right, and equals to, right? So now again and again I need not to call it, and now in the end you need to unsubscribe it so that it will be closed, the event listener should be closed, right? So now if I'm going to run this project, so see, it's automatically giving this message whenever something is happening in the store, dispatches happen, then it's going to print this message update and give you the state 10. And then if then you are doing decrement, then also it's giving the message. So this way you need not to again and again write the get state method, right? So now let's move ahead. A next point is that there is a multiple actions you are able to do, like the way you are able to say the line number 19 you're doing the action, line number 21 you're doing the action, right? And you can write the multiple reducer also inside the Redux, right? So let's use actions in function format, right? So for that what we'll do, we'll create function, normal function, like we want increment, so I'm you making a function increment, right? And this will be your action, right? This will be your action, so I'm just writing here action. So it'll return this, right? So this one it's going to return, right? And what I'll do, I'm going to call this increment function inside the dispatch function. So there will be no difference what you have done before and what you're doing now. But since it's a action, it's a different function, you can do the other things also, other logical part also you can do inside this function. I'm making it simple and I'm just writing it simple function. So say you are writing decrement, so decrement function you are going to create, return, and the same thing you'll do with the decrement function also, right? Okay, and just calling the decrement function inside the dispatch function. And now let's run it and check. Okay, so it's doing the same thing, right? So now you have two actions, increment action and the decrement action. Now you're able to see this type increment is checking inside the reducer also with the case increment, and line number 22 decrement also. So here right now there is two cases only, but since when you are going to have 50 of cases, then it will be very difficult to mismatching of the spelling can be there. So for to get rid of all this confusion and for the spelling mistakes, what we'll do, we'll make a constant inside it. So say I'm using const and I'm just naming it, I'm just giving the some constant, say increment. So incre is equals to, and I'm just giving it a name increment, and const decrease is equals to this decrement, and I'll write here only increase, right? And here also I'm going to use the same constant variable increase and decrease. So now there the chances of a spelling mistake will be less, right? So if I going to run it, it's going to give me the same result, right? So now let's understand the middleware. So middleware, what is middleware? Middleware provide the extra feature to the Redux, right? Middleware is going to allow you to use the third party library in the Redux, right? So it's mainly performing the asynchronous operation, asynchronous task for that. So let's see why it is required for a synchronous task. What I want to do some API call. So for that API call, I already installed the Axios. So for using the npm i Axios, you can also install the npm i Axios so that we can use it. So let's say I'm creating one more action, say function, and I'm going to name it, say get user, right? And since I have already Axios, so I can use it directly. So Axios dot get function, and I'm just using this API, right? And so this is, I'm just fetching the one user data from JSON placeholder. It's a well-known website. If you are able, you are going to go to your browser, and if you're going to type it, right? So this is already there, which you can use for your API call testing purpose, right? So now what I'll do, I'll use the then, and then I'm going to use res, and then here I'm going to get res dot data, right? So now since it's a async, so I'll use async and await here, and I'm just putting this data in one variable, right? And now let's see, let's return the action what we want to return it, right? So say type, I can give here, first I need to make this user, so I'm just giving it here, and then I'll write it. So payload, what you want, whatever you are getting from this, you want to return this. So data dot name, so I'm getting this name from here, so this I should get here inside the then data, right? So I'm fetching this data and putting it inside the payload, right? So now I'm going to create one constant, const user, and I'm just naming it get user name, say, right? And now inside the case, I'm going to write it like user, maybe. So case user, and it's going to return say the amount. I want to initiate the amount, right? So I want whenever person is going to go that API, going to fetch that data and just give that first initial data from that API, right? Right now there is no total rupee inside it, so I'm just directly giving it. So maybe total rupee. So I'm giving it 100 and say I want name here. So name I'm going to get it from that action. So name action dot payload, right? So now this get user I want to call through the dispatch function. So what I'll do, I'll write store dot dispatch function, and then I need to write this get user and call it, right? When I do this, so you are able to see it is giving me error and that the action must be a plain object instead of actual type promise. You may need to use a middleware, right? So because you cannot do this async and await task, await things inside the plain inside the plain Redux, right? For that you need to use the middleware. So let's apply the middleware. So how we can apply the middleware is easily. So what you need to do, you just need to write the apply middleware here. So before that, what you need to do is you need to what I'm going to use the middleware. I'm going to use it thunk, right? So for that you will write npm I and redux thunk. When you will write this and you install it first this and right, so then you're able to use the thunk middleware. So here it's already inside the redux apply middleware, right? And now here you are getting and now you need to use this inside the store also. So here inside the store, here you have calling the reducer, you need to put the comma. So you need to put the comma and then you need to write here apply middleware, and inside the bracket you will write thunk dot default, right? And then what you need to do is you are going to go inside the get user. So here what you'll see, whenever you're going to use this middleware, right? So whenever you're using the bracket, right? So then it will be a normal function for that, right? At the line number 41 for the get user. But when you're going to remove this bracket, the Redux is able to understand that this is a async function, right? So what will happen? It will give this function a dispatch parameter, right? So in this dispatch function, what you will do, you will use this instead of here the return, you will use the dispatch function, right? So what we want after getting this detail, we are able to do the increment and decrement on all the operations, right? So what we'll do, we'll use this unsubscribe and dispatch all the things after, means inside this function after getting the information. So I'm just cutting it from here and putting it here. So the increment decrement, also after doing the increment decrement, I'm going to use the unsubscribe, right? So right, so this is it. So we are using the dispatch function, we are using the unsubscribe method, increment and decrement, and then after that I'm just unsubscribing it, right? Now let's run it and see. So the error is I haven't imported the thunk, so let's import the thunk here and also import the Axios. Import Axios from Axios, right? And also import the thunk. Import thunk from Redux thunk. Right, let's save it and now run it. Okay, now you're able to see I'm fetching the first the 100 right here, and then after that this dispatch increment and dispatch decrement is working. So the operation is happening on the 100 only, right? Now I want to show the name also, right? Since I want to show the name also, I'm inside my store, I'm just giving one more property name and putting it empty right now. When I'm going to get this name, then I can use it, right? So name action dot payload you are giving here, right? Now here also what you can do, you can get already with the object which is already there first, and then change it accordingly if something is there. So if you know this property of the object, so you can write here the state, and then if there is any changes in this state object, then the total rupee is going to change that value. If it is not there, the particular value which is already there, it's automatically appended inside the object, right? The same thing you can do it here, right? Now let's run it and see. So now you're getting the name also, right? So whenever you are incrementing or decrementing after that, after getting the name and the initial data, then only you are able to do it on the async operation. So this is how you can use the middleware in the Redux. Thank you.